Hi everybody. I'm sitting on my piano bench here while I do this video so that I can actually get the sink in, the plants in, and not topped off at the head. So I wanted to see you and I wanted you to see me. But anyway, thank you for all the subscribers and people watching my videos, because I'm doing it for fun. It's something I decided to do strictly to spread the word about how easy orchids are to grow. And Canada seems to be a little behind. There's been a lot of bad things saying, well, get your orchid and then throw it away. We can't grow it here. We can grow it here and it's easy, and they can keep on giving you beautiful flowers year after year. So that's my main thing. I'm not intending to take advertisers or anything. I want you to be able to come into this channel, click on it, and I'm there. Because it is for fun. We can all use extra money, but we also need to do something that is enjoyable for us. We get something from it, and we're giving in a way, and we're receiving because we get comments, and I learn, and you learn. And so here we are. Now, on the last video, I gave a fertilizer to my plants that the leaves were split, weepy, sad looking, because I was worried about that. And whenever you fertilize your orchids, you can do it weekly with a complete fertilizer, meaning you have all three of the essential, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium. You have all three of them available. So the nitrogen will fuel the green leafy growth, and that is the one on the orchid mix. I use Plant Prod, and it was a 25-10-10, and I picked this one because I wanted to help out the leaves. And the phosphorus, which is the second number, will help the growing of the roots and the flowering. And I wasn't too worried about that. And then last would be the potassium, which is your all over plant food. So, and when you're growing in bark, the nitrogen is a little bit more important than if you're growing in moss, or so it doesn't hurt to have a little higher nitrogen content when you are growing in bark. It will help the little microorganisms and break down in there to help feed the plant. And so I used this 25-10-10 last week. Did it do any good already after a week? Well, I want to show you because I was even surprised. So I'm going to go weekly with this. And the last time I used the fertilizer, I used a pinch. And usually I just grab it between my thumb and finger and grab some. Now, for those who are sort of like think they might get too much by doing that, they actually sell little measurements. This one is a pinch, and this one is a smidgen. So it's definitely less than a quarter of a teaspoon, and that's what I use, is a pinch. Now I could take this, and the other reason is I'm not doing it in a gallon of water, because a lot of time you get the mix and it's a gallon of water, and you can break down the instructions. But I have a little watering can. Now this is my normal watering can that I use for the orchids. So I like it because there's a long narrow spout and I can get in under the leaves when I do it. So I'm not putting fertilizer on my leaves, which I don't want to do. Some people say that if you get fertilizer and it's left on, it's not good. So I always try to clean my leaves, and I do use in between this 222, which is balanced, meaning all three numbers are the same. I like this one, and I've seen online that there's a more advanced one, but we don't have it here in Salmon Arm, and I'm going to have to look, but it sounded like there was good, people were doing quite good with that too, so it's a little more advanced than this one, and it is for orchids. So I do use this in between. Don't spray the flowers. I miss the leaves and the aerial roots. And I do like it. And in fact, I think I've got two. I take the labels off, and then I make nice little spray bottles because I like them. And it's a nice mist. And so I put the water in them, and I keep one on each windowsill where my orchids are. So yes, I do use this. How often? Maybe once a week. I might walk around and do this in between my watering days. And so that would be that. Okay, so let's discuss the ones that were the weakest that I was showing you. So I've lined them up first. And this one, okay, it was the two in the lamps that they were the upside down lamp bases that I used as orchid pots. And it was these two that I was concerned about. But do you know, and it's very hard to show in a picture, but they are not hanging as bad. So we're going to do another fertilizing. It's watering day. It's actually 2 days before my watering day. But I grow, because it's thick bark, I'm going to grab a handful out of here. It's dry. You see, you don't want it to dry out completely. And I can dig down here, and I can see this one, it has lots of roots, but I can see it can be watered a day or so early. It's not going to bother it at all. So what I'm going to do before I fertilize, maybe I'll take that out. Put that there. Okay, so it's in my sink. I have nice baby bathing water here. And this is what I'm going to do. Now our water, we do have chlorine in our water. Some mornings you get up and you turn on the tap to wash, and whew, you know. Jack and I, we for years had distilled water just for drinking. We don't use it for anything else. I never use it on the plants, but we drink with it because, in 1990, I think it was, I was tested and they said I had lupus, and I had the highest test for lupus in the whole interior. It was bad, you know, and going, you're going to die and this and that. And anyway, you got to go see somebody every 6 months or every, you know, and it was going on, and all these blood tests, and they were always the same, that I had the highest count they'd ever seen in the whole interior. And I don't know if anybody knows, but I have arthritis in my fingers, and I used to run water taxi on Vancouver Island, living on the ocean. It's one reason I moved to the interior where it's drier. And I always sometimes couldn't get out the boat, you know, very, very, you know, keep on going but suffering. So anyway, after taking the distilled water and going off of drinking water, we have regular water in our coffee, and I cook with regular water, but as far as drinking water, which I do drink a lot of water, we always have a jug going between us, one jug for each of us, and we try to finish it during the day. So, that being said, the years are passing by, thank God, and it's been all good. So I do believe that distilled water helps, and of course I'm gluten-free. So we'll continue this in a minute because I think I soaked this long enough. I don't know how long it was, But before you put the fertilizer on, you want to make sure that you've watered really good. So I'm going to take my plant prod. It has other essential nutrients in it too. So it has total nitrogen 25%, phosphoric, potash, sulfur, boron, chelated copper, iron, manganese, zinc. So the list goes on and on. It's a really good one. And so I'm going to take a pinch, or if you don't feel good about doing that, you could always find yourself a little measure you trust. And because this is not a gallon, but it definitely helped. I've never used a lot of fertilizer, but wow, I was surprised at the difference so quickly. That was only 1 week. And the other one was worse, and we're going to do that next. So, okay, that's how I water. I've run the water through. That also helps clean out any salts that might build up. If you ever see your bark getting, or your pot getting white on it, then you know you have salt buildup. So make sure that when you rinse, when you run the water, you run it through and you're not letting it sit too long to avoid that. So, there we are. I'm going to put that in there. I'm not getting it on the leaves. So, number 1 is done. I'm quite pleased. The new leaf is growing quite nicely. And there's little roots coming, but most of all, I mean, this has got to be a good sign. I was surprised. I had read somewhere that once your leaves are limp, they're limp. They're not gonna, they're not gonna get better. So, and these are the saucers I keep those ones on, and I will wash them later because I don't like them to get too grimy, but we'll do that after. Okay, here's the other one. It did have a little leaf coming. The leaf is quite light green, but the leaves have got firmer. I mean, they were kind of just hanging there. I have one coming off. I never take these off early. I never cut them off. I just wait till they're ready to come off and I let them come. So there we go, but we have a new leaf coming. So yes, I want to do the same thing. I want to encourage the green growth, but we're also fertilizing the other numbers for everything else weekly. You're also doing that. So, you know, you're not just using the nitrogen, you're also giving them a balanced, a good fertilizing the other way. So we're going to let this run. So anyway, I was saying, I also went gluten-free, and that was, and by gluten-free, I do not buy bought gluten-free stuff from the grocery store. We go to the bulk food, we buy our own flours, make our own bread, and I have beautiful bun recipe. I have a beautiful pancake recipe. I don't suffer, I don't miss it. Now when I go in stores and look at all those sweets sitting there, I've been like this for so long, I don't miss it. I have the best recipe, and it's gluten-free. It's made with almond flour, and it is a fruit cake. It is, I've always wanted to make a fruit cake. And so I thought, well, I changed a little of this and I changed a little of that and made this mess. It is so good. We tasted it when it came out the oven. It has little bits of cut up, diced apricots, and I used apricot brandy in it. And then we wrapped it with a brandy cheesecloth. You know, if anybody wants me to get that recipe out, it's wonderful. It's gluten-free, but you'd never know. And Jack isn't gluten-free, and we just can't wait to get into it, but we're trying to leave it another month before we start fishing. In fact, I liked it so much I made 3. So we had 3 down there. So let me know if you guys want that recipe, because I can come on and quickly give it to you, that's for sure. And it's simple. It's very simple, but it does take, I think it was 4 hours in the oven to bake. But it was so good. I did it, the first one, in angel food cake pan. Anyway, here we go. So we watered this one good. That's how I water. I just let it run through. Sometimes with a small one, I have a full sink of water on the other side. I'll put them in and I'll just let them kind of sit there. But I know this is good, and then I'm watering earlier than just a week. So now I'm going to give this one some. So there we go. We are happy with that. And I'm just going to be showing you, before I finish watering, I'm going to show you the sad ones. The other ones are waiting. And crumb, I felt so bad I forgot my Dendrobiums last time. I didn't forget to water them, I just forgot to show you. But this is Oriental Smile Fantasy. And it was this big when I got it in the spring. I had to wait and wait after I ordered it, because they are mail, like we get freezing temperatures and they won't send them. So it was late in the spring before I got it. So this one still, because I'm keeping it in, there's a saucer on the bottom so it's not sitting in water, but because I'm keeping it inside this, the humidity kind of stays around. And I think they're looking pretty good. This one didn't lose any leaves, but they're babies. But this one has lost some leaves on the oldest cane. Now, I hope I get flowers. And this one is Spring Smile Lovely Paradise. So anyway, that was my Dendrobiums, the only ones I get, because I have to limit myself a little bit. But we went to the thrift store, as we always do, and look at this. Now, you couldn't even guess what I paid for this. It was outside in a pile of dirty old, like, plastic gardening pots. They have a spot where they keep them outside. And I asked, I says, how much for this one? And it was dirty. I mean, I've washed it. 50 cents. But now you know why we're hooked at doing this, because it's fun. We felt pretty good about that, you know. So anyway, I have more pot things coming. So okay, now this one is raspberry sprinkles. This is the one that had the beautiful white flowers with the red little sprinkles, and it had the black spot inside. I was worried about, and I put the hydrogen peroxide in center. It has dried up. I'm so happy, but the leaves on this one were a little limp, and plus this is the one that had split leaves quite badly. There's a split leaf there, and there was another one. Anyway, I don't like the split leaves. Sometimes this leaf is split, the one underneath is split. So this is the other reason that this one is getting the fertilizer treatment. So it's the same thing. So what I'm going to do is fertilize this one. The other ones are all pretty well in spike, but you know, just a weak fertilizer, just a balanced one wouldn't hurt. You can do it weekly. The Orchid Society suggests weekly. So I was surprised at the good this has done, and that's why I'm doing it again. So I'm going to finish watering, and I'll close off and say thank you again. And if you have any comments, don't be afraid to leave them. I took typing in school and I didn't use it that much. And boy, it has come back. So I'm surprised I can type pretty quickly, answering questions. And glad to have any comments, good or bad, glad to have them, because I have to learn too. And I'm going to close off this video, and there'll be another one following. Once I get them in place, I want to show you how they're sitting, what they're sitting over, how I place them with the humidifiers. And I'll just do a close-up, and you won't see me. I'll do a close-up of how they are settled. And some people have been asking what other houseplants I have, so I'll do that too. So that'll be shortly following this one. And thank you again.